Okay, I'm going to focus upon GRE versus GMAT. Okay, this is especially applicable to business school applicants. Sometime later, I will also bring in LSAT into the mix, but for this particular video, I'm going to focus upon GRE versus GMAT. Okay, especially for business school applicants. Okay, first difference is the adaptive nature of the test. GMAT is a question adaptive test. That means if you answer question 1 correctly, question 2 becomes more difficult. If you answer question 2 correctly, question 3 is more difficult. Okay, this is not the case in GRE. GRE is section level adaptive. That means if you get the first section of quant, all the questions you can see at a time. You will have to click next and back, but you can see all the questions at a time. You can answer any question you want in that section. So questions within that section in GRE are not adaptive. Okay, but once you submit that section, the second section is adaptive. Okay, and it is quant to quant and verbal to verbal. Okay, not like quant to verbal and verbal to quant. Okay, that is not adaptive. Okay, so if you do very well in the first section of quant in GRE, the second section is going to be more difficult. Okay, whereas in the GMAT, as I explained previously, it's going to be question adaptive. Okay, there are some cofactors in the GMAT. There are some statistical characteristics which are considered for each question. So you answer question 1 correctly, 2 is more difficult, 2 correctly, 3 more difficult, 3 correctly, 4 more difficult, but the 5th question can be really easy in the GMAT because of the statistical characteristics. Okay, I will go into that in detail in some other video. Okay, point number 2. So there are 2 sections in GRE, mainly quant and verbal. There is also an essay called analyze and issue. In GMAT there is no essay. There are 3 sections: quant, verbal, and there is a new section called data insights. So the data insights section is a lot like data analysis. Okay, so if you don't like too much of data, maybe look into the data insights section in the GMAT, because it's also a bit wacky. I may find a more positive word for it, but for now I will call it wacky. I like it, but not everyone would like it. Okay, so the questions in the data insights in the GMAT are not traditional multiple choice question. They're very different. Just check the format. Okay, third point about the verbal in the GMAT is only reading comprehension and critical reasoning. That's it. Previously there used to be sentence correction, but now they have removed sentence correction in the GMAT. Okay, so now it's only reading comprehension and critical reasoning, whereas in GRE there is reading comprehension, a little bit of critical reasoning, but there are also vocab questions or vocabulary questions. Okay, that means if you're preparing for GRE, you will have to learn some words. Okay, and I will come I will talk about how many words to learn and how to learn some other time. Okay, now next comparison. Okay, next difference. Okay, so it's about the syllabus. The syllabus of math is pretty much the same. They like to call it quant. Okay, so previously the syllabus was very same, but recently the GMAT removed geometry from the quant. Okay, but geometry is still there in quant in GRE, so that's one difference. And GRE really likes permutations, combinations, and probability a bit more as compared to the GMAT. Okay, and now one more difference is about the way the questions are asked in the quant section. Okay, GMAT likes something called multi-order reasoning. So all the questions of the GMAT are going to have multi-order reasoning, especially the quant questions. That means they're not going to be straightforward. Multi-order reasoning means you need at least 2 steps to solve that question. So even the easiest questions in the GMAT will need at least 2 steps. Okay, and so those questions, GMAT questions, are more like puzzles and less like math questions, and that's why the GMAT, the company that conducts the GMAT, they emphasize that quant section is not a math test, it's a logic test. Okay, but this is not the case in GRE. GRE is not saying that their quant is a math test. They're not saying that, but the quant questions in GRE are much more straightforward as compared to GMAT questions. Okay, so sometimes difficult questions in GRE may require a higher level of math as compared to the GMAT. So if you like puzzles and logic and you don't like math, GMAT is the way to go. However, you don't mind math but you don't like puzzles, GRE is the way to go. Okay, and about the acceptance, both of them are equally accepted in all business schools. There might be a very few select business schools which will say that they will not accept GRE, but mostly all the business schools that I have looked into in the US and in the UK, and I have looked over 500 plus universities, counting the top 50 universities in the world. Almost all of them accept both, and they also have a fair comparison. So I think you can consider GRE even if you are going to apply for MBA in a business school, or even if you are going to apply for a PhD in a business school. Okay, some people think that taking a GMAT, especially for an MBA program, might create a better impression. Okay, but if you're of a type that you are really going to score much higher in GRE as compared to the GMAT, then maybe you can consider into it. Okay, so that's it for now. I will come back with more thoughts. I especially want to talk about LSAT. It's an interesting test, and I also want to go into depth about like how the GMAT algorithm works, and how to learn the English vocabulary in GRE. I also want to do something about quant, maybe like some topics of algebra, or number properties and geometry and probability, my favorite one. Okay, I will come back to that. Bye.